set to vote early next week on a proposal linking a payroll tax cut extension to the approval of the Keystone XL oil pipeline. Meanwhile, late this afternoon, the Senate rejected dueling partisan proposals. At issue, Democratic demands to raise taxes on America's job creators. Obama again renewed his calls today for Congress to act quickly. Take a listen.
This is something that Democrats and Republicans agreed to last year with little fanfare. This is not about me. They shouldn't extend the payroll tax cut for me. To not extend payroll tax cut, not extend unemployment insurance, would have a significant adverse impact on our economy, right at the time when we're supposed to be growing the economy.
Now we welcome back to the show Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, and Senator Mark Kirk, Republican of Illinois. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. So the payroll tax cut lost 2 more votes today in the Senate, as I understand it. And I want to ask you, Mr. Manchin, is this thing unraveling? Is it just going to die of its own overweight?
I truly believe that they're seeing that Social Security is something that we have committed. It's the only source of income that we've had was our FICA tax or our payroll tax. It's something we're not going to jeopardize, and we're not going to trust Congress or any of us here to say, trust me, it's going to be in the General Revenue Fund and we'll take care of that. $15 trillion in debt, growing $5 billion every day, Larry, more of debt every working day. I think that we're going to secure that funding source and make sure that we keep our promises.
Just to follow up before we get to Senator Kirk, Senator Manchin, what you're saying is basically this temporary 1-year payroll tax cut blows a hole in the Social Security deficit, which on a cash basis is already in deficit, if I understand properly, and we allegedly pay for it over 10 years, but nobody believes that'll ever happen. Is that about right?
That's about right, Larry. The bottom line is the first time last year was the first time that we did this. We deducted 2%. I voted for it at that time, hoping that we could stimulate the economy. I haven't seen any appreciable gains, that unemployment has gone down and we created jobs. With that being said, the funding mechanisms, I want to help working Americans. I'll do whatever proposal you put on the table. I'll entertain it and look at how we can help them. But don't keep fooling with the funding source of Social Security, and don't say, trust me, we'll make sure we pay for it.
Senator Kirk, some thoughts from your colleagues. Let's see, Lindsey Graham, I think some others, Mr. Byrd, North Carolina. They're saying forget about the payroll tax for the reasons I think Senator Manchin's saying that. How about an income tax credit? Now, that would just be for 1 year as far as I know. Is there anything going on there, an income tax credit?
There is. It's a more interesting idea and has a more realistic effect on the economy. Meanwhile, this payroll tax idea to cut contributions to Social Security blows a $200 billion hole in the trust fund, basically having seniors say, trust us. And remember, the bonds that make up the hole are no longer AAA rated by Standard & Poor's. I think what Lindsey Graham is talking about is much more productive than this idea to underfund Social Security.
Can I ask a dumb question, though, Senator Kirk? As a tax reformer, okay, you can't get everything perfect. My thought is this. An income tax credit, you know, it mutters up, it complicates the code. Why not help middle-class people? Just drop the middle-class tax rates. There's a 25% rate, there's a 28% rate. You know this. Why not just drop them to 15%, get rid of that goofy 10% rate nobody pays anyway? So you essentially have a flatter, much flatter. Leave the top rates alone. It's too controversial for now. Help middle-class people. Take the 28 and 25, move it down to 15, pay for it with either tax deductions or broad-based super committee-type spending cuts that never happened.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am for a flatter, fairer tax. But in this Senate of 53 Democrats, 47 Republicans, Joe Manchin and I have also joined together to back the Simpson-Bowles tax relief package, wipe out all the lobbyist loopholes, drop the top rate from 39 to 29, also generating about $1 trillion for deficit reduction, helps us differentiate our economic policy from Europe, a very important goal, and would have much fairer rates, especially for small business employers. across America.
See, Mr. Manchin, one of the things I've never understood, I've gone through this whole debate. I agree with you all that this has no economic stimulus impact. I think in the note you published today, the people looking for work has actually gone up to 6.6 million from 6.4 million. Those are the discouraged workers, not even counted unemployment. Right. Okay, you got that right. So why is it, if it doesn't work for any real economic stimulus, temporary means nothing, and it's blowing a hole in the valued, vaunted Social Security deficit, how can either party with a straight face try to sell this to the American people who are invested in the Social Security Trust Fund?
Larry, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. In West Virginia, we don't do business this way. When I was governor, we had 6 straight years of record surpluses. We had a rainy day account that was greater than most any on a percentage basis. 3 straight years of getting credit rating increases. We just weren't everything to everybody. We didn't play any funny money, phony business, if you will. The bottom line is you're seeing a Democrat and a Republican not worried about the partisan politics, but worried about the next generation, not the next election, trying to fix the big problem. We've got to have tax reform. We're just going year to year, election to election, to find out who can play the blame game better than the other. And it's time for both of our parties to stop saying, well, we're going to blame you, and then we're going to take names and we're going to keep score. Those days should be over. Mark and I have come to, if you will, a meeting, an agreement that we're working together for the betterment of America. Common sense, we need more revenue, we need to cut spending, we need to get our financial house in order, and we're committed to doing it.
I just say also the Senate looks like it's very neurotic. The definition of neuroses is to repeat something that doesn't work over and over again. We've now voted 4 times on cutting Social Security contributions, and it's failed. I think a much more serious Simpson-Bowles-like approach to tax reform would be better, have bipartisan support, and would actually help the economy.
Well, that's the thing. I've always been befuddled by this from up here reporting on this story. It blows a hole in the Social Security deficit, and it has no economic impact. Why do it? Mark Kirk, let me just ask you 2 thoughts coming out of the House, if I may. 1, a repatriation tax holiday for U.S. companies with foreign earnings. That's being discussed by Eric Cantor and others in the leadership in the House. That, by the way, would raise a whole lot of money. Any hope of that repatriation tax holiday?
There is. Eric Cantor is right, and I've teamed up with Chuck Schumer to use it to fund a Democratic idea of an infrastructure bank to make sure that we have better roads, better airports, and better rail. I think a repatriation holiday would bring back hundreds of millions of dollars, or hundreds of billions of dollars to the United States. It's a good idea, and the Congress should do that.
And Mr. Manchin, give you the last word. A Keystone Pipeline provision that's coming out of the House, could that get into the Senate? Would you favor that?
I do favor the Keystone XL pipeline, and my reason for favoring it, we are addicted to oil. We're importing oil from countries that take the money and use it against us. I'd rather deal with a neighbor, a friend, my best trading partner in Canada. It creates thousands of jobs. I really believe the jobs. I've never seen anybody create a hole, build a pipeline, build a steel, and not create jobs. So it will create jobs. And plus, we're going to be using it in America. And I believe it's something we should do. I believe we can be sensitive with the balance of the economy and the environment. I believe very strongly. I think it's a good for the economy, good for jobs, good for America.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for your straight talk. I appreciate it. Senator Joe Manchin, West Virginia. Senator Mark Kirk, Illinois.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, coming up.